the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's good to see you all again. If we haven't met before, then hi, I'm GojiMan. I'm currently finishing a Masters in Nutrition and qualifying as a Nutritionist, and next year I'll be studying for a PhD in Nutritional Science. I make vegan health and nutrition videos every single day unless I'm snowed with assignments, in which I answer your health questions under the hashtag AskGojiMan. So if you have a question for me, then hashtag AskGojiMan in the comments below, or alternatively send your video questions through to contacts@GojiManNutrition.com. So as always, just a quick reminder that I'm now doing consults full time, and I'm also offering the SIBO test, the organic acids test and stool test via my website. So if you have any kind of health or digestive problems, then consider taking these tests, as they will give you a lot of very detailed information on which you can start making informed decisions so that you can start reclaiming your health. In full transparency, I make money from the consults, but I make no money from the testing. I simply provide this as a service so that you guys can reduce the cost of having to do these tests through functional doctors and naturopaths, etc., who then add markup to these test results. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get to the video. So Tim has obviously been incredible for the vegan community, but he has had a number of different health and digestive issues over the last couple of years, which have made his health decline. So today I will discuss what caused this based on his test results, and more importantly, what can be done moving forward. So if we start with Tim's organic acid test results, we can see that he has a number of bacterial and yeast problems. So when scrolling through his results, this is one of the first things that need addressing. Next up, his oxalate levels are slightly elevated. Now they are only just outside the reference range, but when you have a poorly functioning gut with pathogenic bacteria and yeast, etc., these oxalate levels will certainly be compounding the issues. Next we come down to the neurotransmitter section. Now this is what you expect to find with people with certain types of gut issues. So the fibre that you eat gets turned into short chain fatty acids, and then these short chain fatty acids gets flipped into neurotransmitters and serotonin, etc. Clearly, if your gut isn't functioning correctly, you are not going to be producing those short chain fatty acids and subsequent neurotransmitters, and then this is going to have a direct knock-on effect in terms of your mood levels. Coming down the test some more, it is also interesting to see Tim's suberik and sebacic acid levels are elevated. You typically see this in those who have been fasting. The fact that Tim hasn't been fasting for 2 or 3 months or so is a bit strange. For now we put this down to his gut issues, but this is something that needs monitoring. Other than these, the rest of Tim's organic acid test results are generally okay. A few bits and pieces that need tweaking here and there, but these should resolve when the gut problems have been addressed. Next up, Tim's stool test results. So right off the bat, he has some Klebsiella pathogenic bacteria that needs removing from his gut. Of most concern on Tim's stool test results are his secretory IgA levels. Now the reference range is 51 to 204 milligrams per deciliter. Tim's levels are 545. Now high levels of secretory IgA points to an inflamed gut or to an acute immune response to some sort of ongoing infection or intestinal barrier dysfunction, also known as leaky gut. There is also a smaller chance or probability that this could be a result of the Epstein-Barr virus, or it could be Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Now I think this is very unlikely given Tim's levels, but when I spoke to him earlier, I did advise him to speak to his doctor and get his liver tested again, and also do further checks on his secretory IgA levels. Tim's last test is his small intestinal bacterial overgrowth test, and for this he got a negative result. Now this is very good news, because if you do have a bad case of methane dominant SIBO, then it would be a more challenging issue for Tim to resolve. So as stated, I spoke to Tim earlier for an hour or so and we discussed fixing the issues. Now we will get him on the channel at some point in the future to discuss his progress, etc. But very quickly now I will give you a high level overview of what he will be doing after he's spoken to his doctor. So there will be 4 stages to fixing his problems. So firstly, he will be reducing the oxalates in his diet for a period of 7 to 10 days. Stage 2 then involves boosting his immune system and gut function and preparing the gut for stage 3. Stage 3 involves going in aggressively after the bacteria and yeast in his gut with herbal antibacterials and herbal antifungals. And stage 4 involves healing the gut up and reintroducing foods. Now this whole process for Tim will take approximately 6 to 8 weeks, after which we will discuss the results on a video for you all. Now the biggest takeaway I want you all to take away from this video is the impact of prolonged water fasting on gut health, and Tim and I spoke about this earlier on. So if you fast for a prolonged period of time with underlying gut issues, you are likely to run into Tim's type of issues, and let me explain why. So bacteria are very clever. They know when they are under attack from either antibacterials or even water fasting. Bacteria traditionally operate as planktonic forms in the gut and body, and this essentially means that they operate as lone rangers, but when they come under attack from herbal antibiotics or even water fasting, they clump together and form biofilms. Now the biofilm layer created above the bacteria and yeast not only prevents antibacterials and antibiotics getting at them, when you fast, the biofilm also acts as a source of a long-term nourishment, so they effectively go into hibernation. So long-term fasting will not kill off bacterial or SIBO type problems. The issue that you create, or what Tim created unknowingly, is that when you fast for a prolonged period of time, you then send the bacteria and yeast into a feeding frenzy. Now this process creates a lot of inflammation in the gut and probably explains his secretory IgA levels. Now I'm not knocking Tim at all, but please do not jump into fasts and juices without knowing the true picture of what's happening in your gut and wider body. You will likely just end up in the same situation as Tim, and then it's a case of having to piece all the pieces back together after you've fallen off the cliff. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, remember to look after your body because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.